Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're completely shifting how you look at the absolute foundation of 4C hair care. We're jumping right into Lesson 5, Healthy Scalp Basics, from the Crown's Standard, presented by Arlana Styles Man Extensions. For decades, tightly coiled 4C hair has been treated almost like a problem to be solved with endless trial and error routines. But today, we are swapping out those trend-based beauty marketing gimmicks for genuine, empowering science. Let's get into it. Okay, we're kicking things off with a pretty provocative question. Is your protective style actually starving your roots? We spend so much time, and let's be real, so much money, tucking our hair away, assuming it's perfectly safe. But what if the exact hairstyles you've relied on for years to protect your hair are actually the very reason it's silently suffering? It's wild to think about, right? A lot of us just assume that if our hair breaks, the hair itself must be defective. Actually, scratch that. It's absolutely not true. The real answer to why this happens is hiding right beneath those styles. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the biological hair factory, move into debunking dirty hair myths, break down the anatomy of scalp buildup, look at the danger of inflammation, and wrap up with practical scalp maintenance. Starting off with Part 1, the biological hair factory. So, here is the absolutely crucial point we need to establish from the start. Your scalp is skin. It is a living, breathing, biological factory that requires constant care and oxygen, just like the skin on your face. Think about it. The dermal papilla, the blood supply that literally feeds your hair, lives right here. This factory is actively manufacturing the structural proteins that eventually become your hair strands. Seriously, how can anyone expect healthy, long-term hair growth if the literal factory producing it is completely neglected or worse, suffocated? Moving on to Part 2, debunking dirty hair myths. Now, this part is really going to dismantle some major misinformation. There's this incredibly pervasive, awful myth out there that if you just leave your scalp alone and let the natural oils build up, it acts like some kind of magical fertilizer for your hair. Honestly, that makes absolutely zero biological sense. Leaving your scalp to collect all those oils doesn't fertilize growth at all. Instead, it biologically suffocates your follicles and creates a total dermatological nightmare. It completely throws off your scalp's delicate pH balance, which is known as the acid mantle, and that leads directly to severe follicular congestion. Part 3, the anatomy of scalp buildup. Let's break down exactly what we mean by dirty hair on a microscopic level. Every single day, your scalp acts like a busy factory, and, well, factories produce byproducts. Even when you're just sitting around doing nothing, your body is producing sweat and excess sebum. You're constantly shedding dead skin cells. Add in the heavy product residue from edge controls and gels, plus just regular environmental dust from walking outside, it's a lot. If this whole concoction isn't properly and regularly cleansed, all of these elements combine to form a highly toxic physical barrier right over your vulnerable follicles. So I really want you to ask yourself, what actually happens to living, breathing skin when you trap all of those components, the sweat, the sebum, the heavy gels, the dead skin, tight against it for 2 solid months? You wouldn't skip washing your face for 2 months while caking on more makeup every single day, right? No way. So why on earth do we do this to the skin on our heads and call it protection?
That brings us to Part 4, the danger of inflammation.
Let's walk through exactly how this turns into a severe biological cascade of distress. First, that toxic barrier just sits there, completely disrupting the scalp's natural acid mantle. Once that happens, the trapped mixture of sebum and dead skin cells basically becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet for naturally occurring microbes, like Malassezia fungi. This leads to massive microbial overgrowth. And then, your body recognizes the threat and triggers a heavy inflammatory defense mechanism. This is when you get that intense itching, flaking, odor, and severe scalp inflammation. Your body is literally fighting a war right at the root of your hair. And the devastating result of that biological war? An inflamed, highly stressed follicle simply cannot produce a healthy, robust hair strand. It goes into pure survival mode. In cases of chronic inflammation caused by all this buildup, the biological factory literally shuts down. The follicle miniaturizes, producing weak, thin hair that breaks super easily. Or the stress just prematurely forces the hair straight into the shedding phase, meaning you lose the strand entirely. Finally, Part 5, practical scalp maintenance. Knowing all this biology, we are handing you the correct instruction manual to fix the problem. If you take just one central message away from this explainer, let it be this. Healthy hair begins with a healthy scalp environment.
Absolutely no amount of styling, no expensive deep cream, and no heavy butter will save your hair if the environment producing it is actively inflamed, infected, and blocked. You just can't grow a thriving plant in poisoned soil.
So what's the game plan moving forward? First step, a true protective style is only actually protective if it lets you easily access your roots. If your style looks absolutely pristine, but completely blocks you from reaching your scalp for 8 weeks, it's actively working against your retention. You've got to maintain proper regular shampooing practices, even while the style is installed. You literally have to actively remove that daily buildup of sweat and debris to soothe inflammation and stop microbial overgrowth. Keep that essential biological moisture balance intact. And yes, that means actual water hydration and real cleansing, not just slathering on heavy oils that act like a water-repellent seal. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to ponder this final, crucial thought from the curriculum. Long-term retention is not only about growing hair. It is also about maintaining a healthier environment for the hair and scalp over time. We have built an entire culture of personal care around 4C hair, trying to force a visual standard, completely ignoring the actual baseline biology beneath it. It really makes you wonder, if we've misunderstood the basic biology of our own scalps for this long, what other personal care routines are we doing completely backward just to meet an aesthetic expectation? Keep that missing instruction manual in mind and start treating your hair with the foundational respect it truly deserves.